Hi! Hello and welcome to EBKnits. My name is Emily. I'm a knitter and making enthusiast based in Orlando, Florida. This channel is my outlet to share all things handmade, specifically knitting. And today I want to have a little bit of a mid-December check-in. It is December 17th, 2022. I did not do a November wrap-up because I honestly didn't knit that much in November. I got some of my projects here today. I realized I haven't knit too much in December either, but I kind of wanted to have an opportunity to just have a check-in. And also, I think the next couple of weeks are going to be overwhelmed with, obviously you're getting lots of vlogmases from other channels. And then here and on other channels, I'm sure you'll also see like 2022 wrap-ups, everything I knit in 2022. So that'll all be coming towards the end of the year. I also want to make a little bit of holiday decor. Maybe try a holiday sweater. It's December 17th though. I think I'm just getting excited because I submitted my last paper for my class, so we have 3 weeks off and I am just thrilled. So I'm trying to get all the knitting, all the productivity in that I can, and all the relaxing moments. But I really enjoy these videos. I love knitting, of course, so I want to share it with you. And I just feel like, you know, let's do a mid-month check-in instead. So when I was getting my projects together, I realized I haven't really knit a whole ton this month. But like I just said, I hope I can knit a little bit more. And if they're holiday themed videos, I'll make them their own video. So you can check those out as well. Okay, so product number 1, you saw this in my November check-in. This is a Throwover by Andrea Mowry. I have split. I'll show you. So pretty, right? So I've split 4 sleeves and finished the sleeves at this point. I am making them short sleeve and I think it's just so lovely. So as a reminder, I am obviously adapting this to be short sleeve, but I'm also using DK weight yarn, and this pattern calls for worsted. I have just had in my head for a long time that I wanted to use this mini set. This is a mini set from Westknits yarn. I purchased it in 2021. It was a flower themed set, zinnia flowers. So I used 3 of the 5 colors that were in the mini set, and I'm kind of calling it my watermelon throwover because the colors I chose are like this bright limey green. It almost looks yellow here though, and then a coral and a deeper red, and it just reminds me of the colors in a watermelon, which I think is funny but cute. And then the white is a cotton wool cotton or cotton woolen, I don't remember, but it's from Knit Picks, and it is in just a bare base. It is not a color. So I am really enjoying it. I am also, though, because it's DK and the pattern calls for worsted, I'm knitting the size 5 to get around a size 3. I have a 38 to 40 inch chest, and this I've tried on several times already. I think it's going to be great. To try on my sweater, I always used to put it on scrap yarn, and that's perfectly fine. One day I want to make a video about like affordable tools or easy household items you can use as knitting tools. Like, knitting can be a really inexpensive hobby, but when you get more into it, you know, it's always more fun to have more tools. So these are not the fancy cords that everyone talks about. Barber poles, is that what they call them? Barber cords. This is essentially the same thing though. Knit keeper cords. I found them on Etsy by the Blue U. And I got them in this pink coral color because coral is my favorite color. And you simply grab your knitting needle, and it has different sizes in here. And I'm sure you've seen this all over the place, but it's just so helpful. This is the first sweater I've knit where I really use them a lot, I feel like. So that's it. You just put it on the ends of your needles and you slide it right over, and it's very secure. Just have to do a pop off to get it off. And that's it. So I think it's a really, really convenient tool to have. I think you can probably just like honestly buy these at like a hardware store as well. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I feel like you definitely could. But these ones from the Blue U are really pretty. I like all the color selection. I think it comes in a really nice case that you can keep them in. And then the case came in this. So it's just altogether really pretty. It was great packaging. I'm a fan, so I keep it all together like that. And that is how I've been trying on my sweater. I just think it's really convenient and easy. Okay, anything more about this sweater? I'll tell you a couple of mods since I feel like we have the time because I don't have a ton of knitting to show. So the pattern calls for 2x2 rib. However, I wanted to do a tubular cast on, and when I was searching tubular cast on for 2x2 rib, I just was like, I don't want to do all these steps. I don't want to transfer the stitch, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do what I know. So I did a tubular cast on, and therefore I did 1x1 rib. I think it's gorgeous though. I know people are divided on tubulars cast on and cast off, and I'm on the I love it side. You can definitely make it too tight and it doesn't look cute then and it doesn't fit, but if you're, especially with your bind offs, if you're really, really loose about it, I think it's gorgeous. So this is a tubular cast on. I do a tubular cast off, bind off here on the sleeves as well. So I didn't modify anything in the pattern else going forward, just the size. And then of course my sleeve, oh, there's a fly. For my sleeve, I made them short sleeve, and I didn't decrease at all. I cast on the same number of stitches the pattern calls for, but again, this is 1x1 rib here and a tubular, no, not tubular, it's an Italian bind off, because I think it's just I think it's even nicer a little bit than tubular sometimes. Tubular can be a little bit thicker. I think it's, I don't remember her name, but I'll link it below if I remember, for a tutorial that I love where the knitter had actually compared Italian bind off, tubular bind off, and another kind of bind off. And when I watched that, I've watched that several times, and I always go back to that to kind of decide what I want to do. And I just think Italian bind off is the prettiest, and it's pretty easy too once you get the hang of it. My color work, I spoke about this before as well. I'm just proceeding. But the color work I think is looser than I wanted, and also, even though they're both a DK weight, this DK, the Knit Picks, is thicker than the Stress Knits DK, and I did block it, and it didn't bloom as much as I want. I mean, the Stress Knits is a superwash merino, so I guess superwash, you know, doesn't bloom as much as a non-superwash wool would. But I've decided to proceed. It was 3-color work at times. It took me a lot of effort to get through, and I'm just going to continue. So right now it's just stockinette. So I just pick up this project and knit when I'm distracted at home or having a conversation or something, and I just need something really easy to grab. Also, if I am reading, this would be a good reading project, another good, if I'm reading my textbook project, but school's out for a little bit, so that won't be the case for a little while. So that's my project I'm reaching for the most. And then I knit a couple of hats, but I have already sent those off, so I'm going to insert a clip that I made the other day before I sent the hats, and you can hear all about them and see them for yourself. Hello and welcome to a mid-month update. I have finished a few hats and I'm about to send them off to their recipients. They're not holiday gifts, they are just hats that happen to be done around this time, and I am going to send them off so that they can get them. I live in Florida and clearly don't really need hats here, but I am from Illinois and I still like to gift family and friends back there some hats. So I have knit 3 hats. This is for the family my sister nannies. The little boy she nannies is always excited to get handmade hats, and he likes handmade tops that I've made her, so I think he's super knit-worthy and very cute and always excited to get a hat. So I love that. And then his mom requested one, and he has a newish little brother who's about to be one actually, that wanted a winter hat as well. So let's start with the hat for the mom. So all of these hats are using Wool in the Gang super bulky wool. A few years ago, I experimented and figured out my perfect hat formula for an adult hat. However, it turns out my gauge has changed because when I knit that formula, it just was too tight on my head. So this is 40 stitches around, and I used 9mm needles to cast on, 10mm for the body of the hat, and the pattern is the the pattern is the Dottie Beanie by All About Ami, and I think it turned out really well. I really just, like I said, I kind of did my own thing for the decreases, for the stitches, but I used the little pattern to make these cute little dots. I know the recipient will like the pink because she specifically requested this last year for her hat, so I just used what I had left and then supplemented the white for the rest. This pom is from Kitchen Clutter. Clutter is with a K. I got this probably 5 years ago in one of her D-stashes, and I'm just sitting in my stash and I'm excited to use it. I think it coordinates well. And then I also really like to add to my hats these EB tags. They are from All This Wood LLC. This one is a cord tag. I have used leather ones and the faux leather ones in the past from them. I love their shop. And it says EB on both sides if you want a hat that rolls up. It works perfectly that way as well. I think it just adds an extra polished, finished look to a hat. So that's hat 1. So hat number 2 is for little Adam. This is the boy my sister nannies. He is 4 or 5 now, and his favorite color is red, but I don't have any more red in my stash in this yarn. So I selected this coral that I had. I have very little of it, but I thought it was a nice little accent for his hat. I once again used the Dottie Beanie pattern, but I wasn't sure of the stitch count. So the body of the hat is mainly in midnight blue with this corally contrast row of purl stitches. It's hard to see the little dots in it because it's such a dark color. And this hat I cast on 38 stitches. I pondered casting on 36. That's probably more of a kid size, but I was nervous. I don't know, maybe he has a big head, but hopefully it'll be okay and he can roll it up if it doesn't fit. The pom is from what used to be called RKC Handmade. Now she calls her business Ashling Studio, but I don't believe she makes poms anymore. But definitely check her out if you do. Or I have a D-stash in my shop because I purchased like 100 poms from her one time because I thought I was going to sell all of these many hats at markets and online, and it just didn't come to be. So I'm D-stashing those now, so you can get them in my Etsy shop if you like this. I think it's a great size. I love the fluffiness of it, and the ribbon that it's attached to. It's thick, it's a perfect size. I just really love her poms. So highly recommend, and you can grab them on my Etsy shop if you want to. But this is little Adam's hat. So overall, I'm a fan. A little bit nervous about the size, but he can roll it up. Last year, I ended up making him 2 hats because I was nervous about the size, and it turned out to be a good thing because one hat was just a little bit tight and the other hat fit perfectly. So I consider doing the same thing this year just because I get so nervous about kids' sizes because I don't really know, but I'm going to stick with this one. I think it's going to be fine. So there's hat number 2. Hat number 3 I worked on last night and today, so it was a really quick hat. This is for the baby who is almost 1 at this point. And my sister and I selected these green colors from Stash again. So we've got the dark forest green and then the light green on top. This one is just an all stockinette beanie. I was a little bit over the Dottie Beanie pattern, but I think it would have been cute. Maybe I should have added that in for a little bit of contrast and a little something extra. I also think my gauge is tighter in all stockinette than it was with the Dottie Beanie, and maybe it would have benefited from a little bit of the looser gauge just when I'm counting the purl stitches and whatnot. I don't know. This is all speculation, but I'm just nervous that my sister said he has a little bit of a big head. So this is 32 stitches, and I'm nervous it's going to be too small for him. Basically 1-year-old. So I don't know, but I'm not going to overthink it. I am going to send it off. I thought about redoing it or even doing another, but if they get it and it doesn't fit, I can make another. Otherwise, I think we're okay here. So yeah, it's just a very simple hat. I didn't add a pom just because I don't have anything really, I didn't think this color would go. I don't have anything really fun. All the other poms I have are more neutral, and maybe want something fun if they're gonna have a pom, right? So it's just simple. We're keeping it simple for this one. So hopefully they all fit. I'm excited to send them off today, and you'll see me in the future me in just a moment. Welcome back. For my final project, there is not much progress on this. This is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along. I'm still on Clue 1, Twist and Turns shawl, and I'll show you it here. There's not much to say. So I was knitting on this at the beach, and making some progress. However, a massive wave hit me by surprise. It was a whole thing. It was not good. But basically, this got soaked in salt water. So I have since washed it in water here at home with some wool wash, and I shook all the sand out. It does feel still a little bit, maybe it needs another wash. It still feels a little bit sandy or oceany or something. It just doesn't feel as soft as I know it could be. And then these beautiful lobster claw stitch markers, again, kind of got, we were in the ocean for a hot sec, but they are by Hello Lavender. It is her Electric Summer, and I believe they're still available in our shop. I think they're still beautiful. I love the colors. The yarn I'm using is actually Knit Picks again, but I didn't purchase it straight from Knit Picks. I got this yarn from a knitter on Ravelry, and she was just having a D-stash, so I got it for half off. I think this yarn is usually $14 at Knit Picks, and she was selling it for $7. So I think that's a great way to go if you're ever looking for affordable yarn, whether it be Knit Picks or anything else. It's a great spot to shop from first. My plan is to work on this while I have a few weeks off so that I can hopefully finish Clue 1 and get a little farther. At this point, I have seen the finished shawl. I have mixed feelings on it. I think it's nice, but maybe I wouldn't have loved I'm pointing like it's there, but it's not. I knit the shawlography last year, and that one I actually relatively kept up with. I think I was like a week late finishing, but kept up with a lot more than this. This was supposed to be done at end of October, beginning of November, if I was keeping up with the pace of the knit along. So I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna continue because this has been so much work so far, and I love my shawlography so much. So I'm just hoping that the colors I chose are gonna really pay off, and I do love them so far. I love how they look together. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't love the finished shawl, but maybe I'll love my version, and I reach for my shawlography a lot. That is all the active whips I have. Like I said, I do want to make some holiday decor, and I think I want to make an entire video showing you the holiday decor I want to make. I've made ornaments in the past, but I've always gifted them or sold them. So I want to have them for me. I would love a tree topper and a tree skirt maybe. And then over here, I'm not sure if you can see, like behind the couch, we've got a vase of flowers. I'd love to replace that with some crocheted trees or something for now. So I know we're getting close to Christmas, but I'm just finally feeling relaxed enough to be in the holiday spirit. We just put up our tree not that long ago, so I'm excited. This, even if it's up for a little bit, I think it's definitely going to be worth it in my opinion. That is all of the knitting. That is a little bit of the knitting plans. Alright, and then I wanted to quickly just chat about books. I have only read one book since I last talked to you. It is The Club by Ellery Lloyd, and I finished it in mid-November, and I really haven't picked up a book since. The last few books I read, I didn't love. Let's just put it that way. So I haven't really I've been in a little bit of a reading slump. So I want to pick up a book again. I'd love to read one more by the end of this year. That would hit 22 books in 2022, which I just think has a nice ring to it. And will hopefully get me out of that slump. I have an author that I always love, and I know when I start reading it, I'll super love it. But hopefully now I can just relax and also read a book over the next couple weeks. I have a lot of things I want to do, but let's hope I get to them because it would bring me so much joy. So this last book I read, again, called The Club, and I originally wanted to read in October. I had a list of like a couple of thriller type books that I wanted to read because I was like, oh, let's get in the spirit of Halloween. First one I read was The Last Thing He Told Me, which I talked about in my last video, I believe. And then the second one I had was The Club on the list. So I thought, this is going to be a good book. Let me read it, even though I think I started it on Halloween or like shortly after. Anyway, it was basically the end of spooky season, but I thought, I still want to read a thriller. Okay, The Club. So, plot a little bit. It's essentially this very, very, very club for these very, 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 very wealthy people. And like the most rich, the most famous, the most powerful. You spend so much money to be a part of this club, and they have essentially hotels, resorts, locations all across the globe. And the first half is just a lot of detail, in my opinion, about building up how amazing and how fancy and how extravagant this club is, essentially. And I just felt like we could have condensed the first entire half of the book and made it a little bit shorter. Because once we hit the second half, it got more exciting. Like, it was like, boom, 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 things happening, boom, boom, boom. It has some murder elements, it has mystery elements, it has that rich, powerful Hollywood element. The club that this book centers around is the grand opening of the Island Club. It is an island, so you have to, it's very, very, very exclusive. It's the most elite, most exclusive of all the clubs. And this book centers around the opening weekend of this club. Of course, it has a lot of backstory. It has a lot of, you learn about the characters and some like secrets they have. So you learn about all that throughout the book. But the main storyline of the book is just this one weekend. I feel like the second half was great. First half just took a long time to get through. So that's my opinion of that book. And that's all I've read. It's that single book. That's everything I have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I would love to hear if you're making any holiday decor or your favorite project of 2022 of your own. And if you have any books to get me out of my slump, that's another thing I'd love to hear, because I need some good recommendations and a little bit of motivation to pick up the next book that I want to read. If you like this video, I recommend checking out any of my knitting wrap-ups from the month, from previous months. And so you can see all the products I have made this year so far until you get to the compilation video at the end of this year. Thank you so much again for being here. Happy holidays and stay safe, friends. Happy making.